What is going on, world? What's up, YouTube? It's Zero here. Today I'm bringing you guys a brand new episode of the 8 Below Show. Welcome everyone to 8 Below. Thanks for being here, guys, to the best entertainment related show here on YouTube. And I'm super excited about our episode here today. We have a lot of stuff to talk about, so let's get into it. We've talked on the YouTube channel about Hogwarts Legacy, and you guys can check out all of that content here on the channel. But what I want to talk about in this segment of the show, guys, is about everything that we want in Hogwarts Legacy. And when I say we, guys, I'm going to be giving you my thoughts and opinions. Some of those thoughts and opinions you may share and agree with, some you may not. And a lot of these things I got from talking to some of you on social media, whether that's Twitter or Facebook or here on the YouTube channel. So with that, I want to talk about the 5 things that I want to see in Hogwarts Legacy. And let me know what you guys want to see in the title in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. So coming in at number 1 for me, guys, and I state this all the time on the YouTube channel, but it runs, through when we're talking about AAA titles. The number 1 thing I want to see out of a AAA title is none other than a full package. That being a story mode, multiplayer modes, and co-op modes. And the reason for this, guys, obviously is, when you're done playing that single player story, no matter how long it may be, you may play it over again, but after you're done with the single player story, if that's the only mode that's in the game, you're going to move on to other games, most likely. So multiplayer is going to bring you back to the experience over and over again. Co-op modes, the same sort of scenario. And so my thought is, I want to see Hogwarts Legacy have a full package that we're able to dive into not only a story, but also a full-blown multiplayer experience, whether it's PvE or PvP elements. I would love to see that, as well as co-op mode, so that we can continuously come back and really build a fan base around this. Even though Harry Potter, guys, obviously has a massive fan base, to say the least, I really think a full package would be huge for this title. Coming in, guys, at number 2, I really want Hogwarts Legacy to be its own entity. Sure, it's going to have elements of, what we're, as accustomed to in the Harry Potter universe. A lot of, things that are going to feel familiar, but I really want it to be its own thing. I want it to be innovative as well. Kind of really try to raise the bar in certain areas as far as the Harry Potter universe is concerned. Have those things that we feel familiar with, but also things that are going to be really different. And that leads me to number 3, guys, which I want there to certainly be similarities to, Hogwarts, as well as just Harry Potter in general, but I want this to also feel like its own fresh sort of undertaking that's really going to help us dive into this story. It's going to help us dive into something that we haven't seen necessarily. I want there to be those similarities, but certainly those differences. Whether we're talking about location, environments, the enemies, characters, all of those things, I want there to be those similarities, but certainly those differences. And that leads me to number 4, guys, which I think is really important, that there's a lot of variety here. We know it's called Hogwarts Legacy, right? So you're going to be going at this undertaking of obviously a student at Hogwarts. You're going to most likely customize your character, which is really important. We want to be able to customize our character and really grow into being a wizard. And so that is something that is really exciting to me, but I certainly want there to be a lot of variety here. Whether we're talking about locations, whether it's in Hogwarts, places that we've never seen from the movies and the books and things of that nature, I would love to see some, like I said, some variety here. Places that we haven't been to, places that do feel familiar. A lot of that is very, very important to me coming into this story and coming into this, because we don't want everything to be, feel like a copy and paste from the movies or from the books. Whereas on the same side, we want there to be those similarities as well. So variety is going to be huge. That leading to customization of your characters, leading us into the multiplayer, obviously co-op modes, having a way that everything is streamlined, that what you're doing in the campaign is also, kind of transferring over to multiplayer, transferring over to co-op, so on and so forth. And so that is something that's really important as well, having a lot of variety there. And at number 5, guys, this is something that I'm not necessarily expecting from Hogwarts Legacy, but something I would love to see, and that is free-to-play elements. I would love to see the multiplayer, whether it's called Hogwarts Online or the co-op modes, to be free to play. And the reason for this, guys, is it's going to get people to at least try the game out. And obviously, if the game is awesome, then it's really going to blow up from that perspective. If it's really good and you have a free to play element like the multiplayer, we see this over and over again with free to play games. People will at least give it a try. And if it's something special, lots of people are going to try it and play it and build a real big following around it. We see this with Fortnite, Valorant, Call of Duty Warzone, so on and so forth. So I would love to see at least, a free-to-play element in this title. I'm not necessarily expecting it, but I would love to see, because I think it would be very smart from a business perspective, of luring people in to the multiplayer, and then they want to buy the full version, that being the campaign, co-op modes, and I think that could be something really special. This is a title I think has got a lot of promise. There's high expectations as well, and I think that these are ways that can really deliver something really special. What do you guys think, though? Let me know in the comment section down below. What are the things that you want to see out of Hogwarts Legacy? Let me know, and for more Hogwarts Legacy content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. With the announcement of a new Mass Effect title, I know that many of us are incredibly excited to see what this iteration or continuation of this iconic franchise is going to look like. And I want to talk about everything that we know now about Mass Effect 5 or Mass Effect, the new sequel, a new iteration. Is it just called Mass Effect? It's hard to say, guys, but I want to talk about everything that we know now about this title. As more and more information has come out, there's been rumblings and speculation on what this title could all encompass. And I want to talk about it right here on the YouTube channel. You guys can check out all of my Mass Effect content here on the channel. And I got to say, guys, we're going to be building a lot more videos based around this new upcoming Mass Effect title. So I hope you guys take advantage of that. With that being said, let's talk about the upcoming Mass Effect title. So with that being said, guys, in an article written by Melindy Hetfeld and Heather Wald of Games Radar, all the details on the new Mass Effect game, aka Mass Effect 5. A new Mass Effect game, which we're currently calling Mass Effect 5, is en route. EA revealed the new game at the end of 2020, and from the looks of the trailer, it does look like it'll be a continuation of the original trilogy, potentially even making this Mass Effect 4 rather than Mass Effect 5. That being said, during the Game Awards 2020, BioWare dropped the very first teaser trailer for the next Mass Effect game. And it was an awesome trailer, to say the least, guys. Running at just under 2 minutes, fans were quick to dig into every second of footage shown to try and piece together what it might mean for the future of the franchise. BioWare project director Michael Gamble caused a lot of excitement when he said there's a lot to unpack on Twitter, and the Mass Effect fanbase erupted with interesting theories and thoughts about what the trailer may be hinting at. So, with that being said, firstly, you can hear the very recognizable horn of a Reaper ring out during the opening sequence. Later on, eagle-eyed fans also noticed you can spot the silhouette of a Reaper in the background as a mysterious figure who turns out to be Liara walks through a snowy landscape. Gamble confirmed you do in fact see Reapers in the trailer, so we're likely seeing the remnants of what was left behind after the final showdown with Shepard in Mass Effect 3. Lots of folks are really talking about, guys, lots of just fans, of course, wondering, is Shepard in this? Are we going to be seeing, like this continuation where he's going to be like the main character? My thoughts are, guys, I really want us to kind of, obviously, Shepard's had his time with the original trilogy. Sure, if there's a return somehow or another in this upcoming title, I would be all for it. I just would rather play a different character. I think it's time where Shepard passes the torch on to another character. I think that would be awesome. But having him in the story would be something really interesting. How they would tie that in, it's hard to say. But with everything considered, I would like to maybe see a return. I just don't want Shepard to be the character we play as. I think it's time to move on to other characters. That being said, there's also a substantial amount of theories around the possibility that the next is in some way tied to Mass Effect Andromeda. If it is, it could give us an idea of the time frame the next adventure will take place in. Andromeda is set some 600 years after Mass Effect 3, and interestingly, you can even listen to voice recordings from Liara in Andromeda. Giving her a long lifespan, it would also make sense for her to still be knocking around long after Shepard. Prior to the release of the trailer, many believed it was connected to Andromeda because of the official artwork that was released on N7 Day in the blog post announcement. The concept art titled Mud Skipper shows a silhouette of 4 figures, one of which has the same build as Angara, which is a race we first encounter in Andromeda. So with that being said, guys, I've talked about this a lot. Andromeda to me was criminally underrated, guys. I thought that Andromeda was awesome, right? I mean, I'm not saying that it was as good as the original trilogy, but I think it got a lot of backlash for some of the wrong reasons. Sure, it was not a perfect title to say the least, but I really enjoyed Andromeda, probably more than a lot of people out there. And I think that if this is a continuation from Andromeda in the form of Andromeda 2, I would be totally fine with that. I think that maybe the direction they're probably going to be going in, though, is kind of making this a sequel to the original trilogy, which I think makes a lot of sense because a lot of people didn't like Andromeda like myself. I, of course, liked it, but others, like I said, really didn't like Andromeda, so it doesn't make sense really for them from a business perspective to go to Andromeda 2 when you could do a Mass Effect 4, which would be a direct continuation from 3. It would maybe make a little bit more sense. But nonetheless, Andromeda, it kind of gets me excited, the potential that it could be a sequel to Andromeda. That being said, the new Mass Effect game is being made by a veteran team at BioWare. Shortly after the release of the teaser trailer, BioWare project director Michael Gamble highlighted some of the names returning to help create this next step in the franchise on Twitter. Dustin Everman has rejoined the development team. Parrish Lee, Brennan Holmes, Derek Watts. Really excited to see some of these, these big names over at BioWare working on this title. So the big question, guys, is when will the new Mass Effect title be released? Well, the question we all want an answer to is, of course, when we can expect to see the next Mass Effect adventure arrive. Well, we probably won't be seeing an official release date for quite some time, especially considering BioWare is still in the early stages of development. What we can bet on is that we'll see it land on the Xbox Series X and PS5. That being said, so what I would probably say, guys, is that we're probably still a number of years away. We got the teaser trailer last year. We might hear a little bit more, in the later half of 2021. Most likely, though, we probably won't hear anything else until 2022. And I would say that the game will probably release in 2023 or 2024. As so many games of recent years, Mass Effect Andromeda made the jump to an open-world structure. While you always had the option to travel around the galaxy and solve several side quests at your own pace, the entire story of Mass Effect Andromeda requires you to first go to a planet in the Helios cluster and finish enough quests to raise the viability level of a planet before you can proceed with the plot. So it's interesting to think maybe that's kind of the structure of full open world. Here would make a lot of sense to me. This one's dividing the fan base. About half of them want the next game to use Andromeda's setting. The other half hanker for a return to the Milky Way. But acting as if Andromeda never happened would do all the work that went into it a disservice. While the story wasn't different enough from the original Mass Effect trilogy to win most players over, it did leave open questions. A second part could explore conflicts between the different races after finally settling, or take a closer look at the Ryder family. Andromeda had interesting new alien races, and where the trilogy had several games to allow Shepard's teammates to grow onto players, the Andromeda crew deserves a similar chance. And I agree with that. I think that Andromeda, to a lot of people, was a step in the wrong direction. To me, I feel that maybe going back to what made the series so special with, Shepard and some of these other characters, you bring some of that flavor back here in Mass Effect 4, whatever this upcoming Mass Effect title is called, but you also continue bringing in Andromeda characters as well. Trying to have them, maybe an Andromeda character is who you play as here in this title, so that you kind of get drawn more and more and get more invested in those characters, I think would be a really good ordeal. So, obviously, guys, overhauled morality system is something that people have been talking about. The ability to control squad powers has been one as well. Mass Effect Andromeda has fun combat, easily accessible to those who played a Mass Effect game before. It's well comfortable in being a cover shooter and thus didn't look to innovate, but with it, It added some interesting variety with the different combat profiles. Good enemy AI behavior kept things sufficiently challenging, which can't be said for your squad mates. Mass Effect teammates have never behaved optimally, but in prior games, you make up for that by commanding them to use their powers. So I'm sure that this is something that we'd like to see come back because it wasn't in Andromeda. Obviously, guys, the morality system, Andromeda did away with the Paragon Renegade system of past games. Generally, we don't think it a great loss, as that dialogue options always divided into good, rude, and vaguely sarcastic even before the system was scrapped. But it would be nice to see a stronger emphasis on consequences. And I agree with this. This is kind of what made the original trilogy pretty awesome. And it kind of made it, especially near the end of Mass Effect 3, those choices really build up over time. But with that being said, guys, we know certain things, certain aspects of the upcoming Mass Effect title, but there's a lot of things that we still don't know, and that's what makes this very, very intriguing. To say the least, guys, I'm very excited about Mass Effect 4. I'd love to hear what you guys think, though, in the comment section down below. What do you think about this upcoming Mass Effect title? What are you excited about? What are you concerned about? Let me know, and let's have a real conversation about it. And for more Mass Effect content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. Project 007 is the upcoming James Bond title, and it's pretty much, guys, a very anticipated title. I know it's very high on my most anticipated list, just because, guys, it's James Bond. Obviously, growing up playing, the old James Bond titles, even back on the Nintendo 64, had some really amazing fun with GoldenEye and a number of these titles. I want to talk, guys, about this new iteration. This has been a title, guys, that I've been very excited about. Obviously, been really wanting another James Bond title. Obviously, guys, we've got IO Interactive, or the ones that are working on this. Obviously, they have a lot of experience in games kind of like this, like spy-type style games. And what I will say is this one could be something really special. And so in this segment of the show, I want to talk about everything that we want out of Project 007. And when I say we, guys, I'm going to be giving you guys my thoughts and opinions. I would love to hear yours, though, in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. So first of all, guys, Project 007, this title doesn't have a release date as of yet. We are still waiting for confirmation on when this title is going to come out. Obviously, it's codenamed Project 007. I don't know if that's going to be the title, or obviously it says on their site that it's the working title, so most likely it'll be called something else. That being said, though, let's talk about this. At number one for me is definitely having a full package, that being multiplayer, co-op, as well as a single-player story. All three of those things are going to be massive, I believe, for the success of this title, simply because, obviously, you want to go back in time and you want to play those multiplayer elements, playing against your friends in split screen on GoldenEye or whatever the case might be. You want to bring that energy back to this franchise, and I definitely believe that it's going to be a full package, that being a multiplayer, hopefully a really awesome single-player story as well. So after you're done playing the single-player story, you can, of course, play multiplayer, you can play co-op modes, and you're not necessarily just going to move on to other games if you have that full package. So I'm really, really excited about that. I'm hoping that we get a full package. I think we'll at least get a story as well as multiplayer. Co-op modes would obviously be a huge bonus at the end of the day. At number two for me, guys, obviously what's really important about, Project 007 to me is that you still stick to the roots of James Bond and what made it so special, but you also change it up a little bit, right? You want there to be something that makes it stand out from the older, James Bond titles. So, and I definitely think IO Interactive is going to do this, where there's going to be differences as well as those similarities. That leads me to number three, guys, which is free-to-play elements. I would love to see the multiplayer of Project 007 be free to play, so that everyone will at least try it, and that will help really start building the fan base around the multiplayer. And it may get people to buy the single player story or the co-op modes, whatever the case might be, because the multiplayer is free to play. It justifies it, and I think that free to play, it would be so huge for this title, guys, without a doubt. I think it would be a massive ordeal. I'm not saying the whole title being free to play, but free to play elements I think could be absolutely huge. At number four for me, guys, I would love to see, obviously Daniel Craig plays James Bond right now. I would love to see different iterations of James Bond over time that you can choose from. I would love to see a lot of customization features and things of that nature, that you're able to customize your character, you're able to create your own character, or play one of the many James Bond characters from the past in the movies and things of that nature. I think that would be absolutely awesome. Having a lot of customization features would be awesome to make it kind of stand out, right? Where everyone is, trying to earn and get unlockable items and such throughout the gameplay, where you play the campaign and those stats transfer over to the multiplayer over to co-op, so on and so forth. It's kind of one ecosystem I think would be absolutely awesome. And coming in, guys, at number 5 for me, I think it's really important, and we kind of alluded to this, but I think something that a lot of titles nowadays are doing is they're copying one another, right? When you talk about a first-person shooter, a lot of these first-person shooter titles try to copy what's working, right, at that time, right? You look at games like Call of Duty Warzone, they're obviously doing something right. A lot of people are copying them. Fortnite really started this Battle Royale movement, and you've got a lot of titles that are trying to copy and try to build off of what Fortnite did to build that success. I really want Project 007. Sure, it can take little things here and there, but I want it to be its own thing, its own entity completely, because I can always just play Call of Duty Warzone. I can play, these other titles. I want this to feel different, though. I want it to be itself, where it's its own thing. Like I said, maybe taking things from old James Bond titles, but also taking things that, can really help innovate this franchise moving forward and really set up the next generation of James Bond titles, because I'm hoping that this isn't the only one we get. I hope this is going to be a long-withstanding franchise moving forward. But those are the things that I want to see out of Project 007. What do you guys want to see out of it? Let me know in the comment section down below, and let's have a real conversation about it. And for more Project 007 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. Elden Ring is a title that is up and coming, guys, supposed to be coming out January of 2022, and I'm very excited about this title for a number of reasons, from George R.R. Martin being a part of it to just what we've seen so far makes me very excited for this title, and a lot of high expectation, to say the least, for this to be a title that is going to get knocked out of the park, and I'm really excited about it, guys. I want to talk about everything that we want, though, in Elden Ring, and I would love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. Some of these things you may agree with, some of them you may disagree with, and some of the things that I'm going to be bringing up about the things that we want are things that you guys stated on social media to me, and so I definitely want to go ahead and talk about this and get some real conversation going in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. So Elden Ring, guys, I've made a lot of Elden Ring content on the YouTube channel. You guys can check out all of that, and there will be more moving forward, to say the least. So if you like Elden Ring or you're excited about this upcoming title, stay here with Zero TV. But with that being said, guys, the number one thing for me with Elden Ring is an open world. Now, there's a lot of talk that there's going to be a semi-open world or a full-blown open world with Elden Ring, but I absolutely want to see a open world, guys, where you got a lot of exploration. You're able to, of course, this is an action role-playing game, right? So we definitely want there to be elements to this that are going to have, what we can really say is that this is a third-person perspective title, and I would love to see just how much exploration you can do. That goes from customization to being able to just have things in that open world to do. I think would be absolutely awesome. I think that that's the direction they're moving in, but I absolutely want to see an open world. At number 2 for me, guys, I really want to see multiplayer, single player, and co-op mode. So that full package, guys, is something that I talk about all the time on the YouTube channel. Anytime that you're getting a AAA title, I believe it needs all three of those things in order to justify a $60 price tag on the title. Because when you look at the landscape of gaming, we have so many free-to-play games now. And so, to me, it just makes a lot of sense that if you're going to sell a product that is just a single-player story, a lot of times, in my opinion, it doesn't really justify. Because after you're done beating the story, you're going to move on to other games most likely. But a full package is going to bring you back to that experience over and over again if you enjoyed the single-player story or the multiplayer, so on and so forth. For me, though, guys, Coming in at number 3, I think is really something that this is almost kind of building upon, in my opinion, is certainly, since the predecessor of Elden Ring was, of course, the Souls series, this is something I would love to see connections to, right? But I would love to see George R.R. Martin, since he's got his handprint on this title, I would love to see novels as well as comics made about Elden Ring. I think about Dead Space was a title that got an animated movie, it had some comics and things of that nature that really tried to build upon the legacy, the story, so on and so forth. Well, I believe that Elden Ring has a total amount of, potential when it comes to this area of having novels and having, different stories that you can read about to really build upon that legacy and lore. You think of Elden Ring, I think of like the Lord of the Rings, right? Where that's such an expansive universe. This is one that I think has that potential as well, especially having someone like George R.R. Martin there. This could be something really special. So I'd love to see, novels, comics, little movies maybe, show made around this title. It would really build upon what they're trying to do for sure. And for me, guys, this leads me to number 4, which is free-to-play elements. I would love to see an element here in Elden Ring that's going to be free-to-play. Let's say maybe multiplayer's free, maybe the single-player story is free. So it kind of gets your feet wet with this title in particular. You're able to kind of see what it's all about, and then maybe you might want to buy the entire game. If you play the multiplayer and you're going up against waves and waves of enemies, or you're playing in a PvP setting, you get an idea of what it's all about. And then you can play the single-player story, play those co-op modes. I'd love to see some free-to-play elements in this title. And rounding it out, guys, at number 5, I certainly want, From Software to focus on this game and this game alone, thinking to themselves, hey, this is going to be the only game in this series, so we want this to be the best it can possibly be. However, I also want them to have in the back of their mind thinking, we want this to be a long, expansive franchise. We don't want this just to be one game that comes out and that's it. We want this to be a universe, something that's going to go and withstand the test of time almost. Whereas we're starting it here, but we have an idea of how we can make a great sequel out of this, or whatever the case might be. Make this the best game you can, but have that idea in your mind that we want this to be a long, withstanding franchise. With that being said, though, guys, those are the 5 things that I want to see out of Elden Ring. What do you guys want to see out of Elden Ring? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Elden Ring content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. For those of you that are accustomed to my YouTube channel, you know that I love horror games, horror movies, shows, all things horror, guys. I absolutely love. And one of the titles, guys, that I've been very excited about coming out is The Outlast Trials. It's a title, guys, that's up and coming, and it was supposed to release here in 2021, but it's starting to kind of feel that that's most likely not going to happen. And so what I want to talk about is, where is The Outlast Trials? Where is this title? This is a title that was very high on my most anticipated list for games of the future, and we haven't seen much and haven't heard really a lot ever since we got those images that were released as well as the trailer. And so I want to talk about, where is The Outlast Trials? I would love to hear you guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. So let's get into it, guys. So first of all, The Outlast Trials, if you guys are excited about The Outlast Trials, I have The Outlast Trials content here on the channel. You guys should check it all out. I'll keep you guys up to date as more information comes out about this title. But the first thing that really comes to mind, guys, when it comes to The Outlast Trials is that it is in a limbo state, a state of, it's hard to tell when this game's and this title's going to come out. Now, is it creative differences over at the studio that's creating issues? What is it that is really holding us back here in The Outlast Trials? There's a number of things. I mean, first of all, guys, the pandemic has really shaken the world to its core, and I think that this is something that obviously the video game industry is still trying to figure out, and it certainly has put a lot of titles on the back burner as far as how long out it's going to be until they release, right? There's a lot of issues and logistics that these companies have to go through when it comes down to this pandemic and what it's really, done to this industry. Sure, it's actually really helped the video game industry because a lot of people were stuck at home home playing video games was something to do, right? Watching Netflix, whatever it might be. I think that the Outlast trials has suffered a little bit for sure from the pandemic that happened. And so it was scheduled to come out this year, but obviously with this, sometimes the stay-at-home orders and things of that nature has really shaken this up. And so I believe that the Outlast trials is certainly still coming, but the problem is that it got delayed in a significant way due to when it was being planned on coming out, which was this year. That being said, could we still see it this year? Certainly. I do think, though, that they're going to want to continue ramping up the marketing and things of that nature to give as much exposure as they can. They're going to be going up against titles like Back 4 Blood. Obviously, Dead Space got announced, the Callisto Protocol. There's other titles that are coming out that are going to try to take away from what the Outlast Trials is trying to do. But what I think the Outlast Trials has that a lot of these titles don't, or at least we don't know yet, it's yet to be seen, is a full package. The Outlast Trials not only has a single-player story, it's got multiplayer, it's got co-op. It's got all three of those things to make up a AAA title, to make it something special. And I talk about that all the time on the YouTube channel, guys. Having a full package is huge when we talk about, the longevity of a title, as far as just how long can it withstand the test of time, things of that nature. So I think right now, number one is the pandemic, I'm sure put a real strain on the production of the Outlast Trials. Number two, though, of something that could be happening right now is there's some creative differences over at the studio. The developer team over at Red Barrels, it's hard to say, are there some creative differences there? Are they trying to, go in one direction, but then there's others that are on the board that are saying, no, we should go in this direction. Is there a problem there? It's very possible that there's something else going on here that is creating some issues. Do I believe, though, guys, that the Outlast Trials is going to come out at the end of the day? Absolutely. But there is a potential that it's in this limbo state. It could very well be in a development hell perspective where they're very behind. They have to meet certain, quotas as far as, getting things done in a timely manner in order to get this released. It's hard to say, guys, but from what we've seen, from the trailer to the images that were released, I am very excited about this title, to say the least. I mean, I'm very excited to hear more about what's going on and what this game is all going to encompass, because I think it could be something really special. And the fact of the matter that the Outlast Trials, getting back to it being a full package, that also could be part of the reason why they're behind, because it's a full package. They're not just working on a single-player story. They're not just working on a multiplayer or just a co-op mode. They're working on all three of those things. So, in order to really deliver on all three, you got to have a pretty decent-sized team that's working and clicking on all cylinders. And if that's not happening, whether it's due to the pandemic, creative differences, whatever it might be, that can certainly delay a title. So with that being said, guys, the Outlast Trials, I do believe that it's still going to be coming. When? It's hard to say. Could it be 2022 or even further, like 2023? I think, guys, that we're going to hear more about the Outlast Trials, if not later this year, in some point in 2022. And then we can certainly continue talking about, I would say the release date probably would come out when they release their next trailer or announce it on Twitter, whatever the case might be. And I'll be sure to give you guys more information, keep you all up to speed as more information comes out about the Outlast Trials. But what do you guys think about the Outlast Trials? Where do you think it is? Is it in development hell right now? Or is it in a limbo state or a state of no return? Are they really behind, that being Red Barrels, when it comes to the pandemic? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below, and let's have a real conversation about it. And for more of the Outlast Trials content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. There's been a ton of speculation and rumblings of a Titanfall 3, a title that is becoming very anticipated, and people are just hoping that it gets announced at some point in the future, especially with the ongoing success of Apex Legends. People are wondering, myself included, about the future of the Titanfall universe. So let's talk about, is Titanfall 3 something that we can say is confirmed at this point, because there's been a lot of leaks, rumblings, and speculation, or is it something that is more of a pipe dream? Let's talk about it, guys, and I would love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. So with that being said, guys, I've made a lot of Titanfall content here on the YouTube channel. You guys can check it all out, as well as Apex Legends. But with that being said, let's talk about Titanfall 3, a title I believe needs to come out at some point in the foreseeable future. This is an article written by Lloyd Kumbis of Gfinity. Stand by for Titanfall again. Titanfall 2 may not have been given a chance to succeed, released between Battlefield 1 and Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. So, first and foremost, guys, that is absolutely one of the biggest mistakes I've seen in gaming was Titanfall having the audacity to try to compete against Battlefield and Call of Duty. Not saying that Titanfall is not like inferior to Call of Duty and Battlefield, but when you're talking about two juggernauts in this space, and Titanfall's still trying to get its footing, instead of competing against those two, probably should have released at a different time. And I feel that a lot of it had to come down to, you know, Vince Zampella and a lot of these guys who worked on Call of Duty in the past. Certainly the egos were there where they wanted to try to release it and show everyone that, hey, Titanfall is as popular as Call of Duty and Battlefield, and they failed miserably in that perspective. The success of Apex Legends has no doubt led to a surge in popularity for Respawn's multiplayer shooter, and fans have been constantly asking for the developer to return the frontier and bring Titans along for the ride. So here's what we know about the long-rumored third installment. So after the recent Apex Legends hacks, Respawn's community coordinator Jason Garza spoke on his YouTube channel confirming the Titanfall community is not forgotten or abandoned or anything like that. We're still working on it. It's just we can't telegraph our moves, and the thing is we only have like 1 or 2 people on it because everybody else is on Apex Legends, so don't feel bad. It's something we do work on. It's just that these things take time. You can't just press a button and everything's fixed magically. So obviously, is Titanfall 3 confirmed? Well, guys, there's a lot of things pointing to Titanfall 3 is being worked on currently. It's just in a slow state because of, obviously, the success of Apex Legends. A new Titanfall game might not be exactly on the horizon anytime soon, but it's clearly still in the hearts of developers at Respawn. So next season, Season 9, you're actually going to see a ton of Titanfall coming back into the game in one way or another. So I've told some people before, if you're a Titanfall fan, hang on for Season 9 because there's going to be some really cool stuff in there. What's going on in Titanfall is a war. Apex is what happens after the war, like what is life like in this place. So we're trying to integrate Titanfall into that because Titanfall's very much a part of the universe. So the question that really a lot of people are asking is Apex Legends just going to continue, like, add things from Titanfall instead of making a Titanfall 3? They just add Titans and things of that nature into Apex Legends and just, you know, push Titanfall 3 to the wayside. I think that it would be a huge mistake to do that because I think a Titanfall 3 would have a ton of potential, especially if it's integrated with Apex Legends. Titanfall 3 can promote Apex Legends, and Apex Legends, being free to play, can promote Titanfall 3. It would make a lot of sense in my opinion. Now, EA Chief Studios Officer Laura Miele said Apex takes place in the Titanfall world, and the Respawn team is incredibly proud of that legacy and brand. That team will determine what the future holds for Apex and Titanfall. I don't believe in directing or telling game teams what to create. It has to come from the player community and the inspiration and motivation of developers. So with that, guys, I've said this many times on the YouTube channel, we can really voice our opinion to the developer teams, and a lot of times you may not think that your voice is being heard, but it really does carry further than you think. Give you an example, Dead Space, guys. I've made tons of Dead Space content on the YouTube channel pleading with EA to create a Dead Space 4, and we echoed that game into existence. I truly believe that, guys. Dead Space is coming back, and I think it was really because of the fan base voicing our opinion to the developers saying, hey, we want another title in this universe, and Dead Space is back. So with that being said, Titanfall is a much bigger game, of course, than none other than Dead Space. And so Titanfall, I believe, we voice our opinion to the developers, and over time, guys, we can definitely, our voices can move mountains. And that being said, I think it can get games made as well. That being said, the release date, don't expect any news soon, but a recent leak from the Neon Beast, a Brazil-based Apex Legends leaker, has suggested the game is in early development. I'm pretty sure leakers can say the same because we have totally different sources. The good thing is, even with different sources, the rumor is exactly the same. So this was a since deleted tweet. They said Titanfall 3 is for real. This allegedly comes from multiple sources, although we're unable to verify those at this point. Although Apex Legends data miner Bias12 has also confirmed that their sources also confirmed the Titanfall 3quel is in development. Yeah, I can confirm that is what he said. So what would the platforms be, guys? Most likely the platforms with Apex coming to Nintendo Switch, I believe that the platforms would certainly be next-gen consoles, so Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5, and PC. So the trailer, the game hasn't been announced yet. Thankfully, that gives us a chance to rewatch the trailer, Titanfall 2 trailer, which in turn will almost certainly mean we'll go back to playing Titanfall 2. That being said, though, guys, I do believe that Titanfall 3 is in development. It hasn't been 100% confirmed, but there are certainly things that are getting everybody excited, if you love Titanfall, for a return to this title. What is it going to look like, though? See, Apex Legends, it makes a lot of sense, you know, that being the multiplayer side of things. Would Titanfall 3 just be a single-player story? I believe, though, I look at games like Call of Duty. They have Warzone, which is the Battle Royale mode, but they also have multiplayer. They also have a single-player story, co-op modes. I think Titanfall could definitely take a page out of that book, do multiplayer, and, you know, have the, you know, BR, which is Apex Legends, and then also create a story, continuing that story. It builds upon the legacy, the lore of Titanfall, and I would love to see that moving forward. Titanfall 3, guys, what do you think? Do you think it's going to come out at some point in the foreseeable future? Do you think it's in a limbo state, a state of no return? Or do you think it's been canceled because of the success of Apex Legends? Let me know what you guys think, and let's have a real conversation about it. And for more Titanfall 3 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. Uncharted is one of my favorite PlayStation titles of all time. It was #1 before The Last of Us, and then The Last of Us took the top spot, but Uncharted is certainly right under that as #2 favorite PlayStation game of all time. And with that being said, guys, Uncharted is a title I believe that needs to have a continuation. Not that, you know, Uncharted 4, A Thief's End wasn't a great conclusion to Nathan Drake's story. I just think that there's more to be offered there. And sure, we've had continuations in one capacity or another, but I want to talk about Uncharted 5. Everything that we know about this title, the rumblings, rumors, speculation of what could be Uncharted 5. So let's talk about it. So in an article, guys, written by Richard Warren of Game Rant, recent reports have claimed that a new Uncharted was being worked on, but the game is going to be facing one massive challenge if it happens. Back in 2017, the final Uncharted game released, with Uncharted Lost Legacy serving as an epilogue of sorts for the beloved action-adventure series. Focusing on Chloe Fraser, Nathan Drake's former partner, the story saw Chloe becoming a hero in her own right. A year prior, Uncharted 4: A Thief's End brought an end to Nathan Drake's story, with the game received well by critics and adored by fans. So let me just put it to you like this. Uncharted 4: A Thief's End, I believe, should have actually come out last. I think that Lost Legacy kind of put like a sour taste in my mouth, at least, for the end of Uncharted, essentially. Uncharted 4: A Thief's End, I thought, was incredible. I thought was a great way to kind of end that segment of the story. Lost Legacy, I thought, was a step in the wrong direction. That being said, though, all it takes, guys, is one game to go in a bad direction, and it takes one game to go back into a really good place, and I think Uncharted 5 could certainly do that. But what about Nathan Drake's story here? Well, let's talk about it. Uncharted 5 rumors have been prevalent since the launch of the PlayStation 5, with many fans holding out hope that there was some legitimacy to the murmurs. While it would make sense given the upcoming film and the franchise's overall success on the Sony platform, no serious evidence was provided for the game's existence. However, that since has changed, as a major report from Bloomberg and Jason Schreier recently confirmed that the game was being worked on. At some point in time, an Uncharted game was being made with Ben Studios serving as the developer. This move made sense as the developer behind Days Gone had also made the solid PlayStation Vita title Uncharted Golden Abyss. However, Ben's studio apparently asked to be removed from the project, aiming to make its own game instead. While this is exciting for fans of Ben, as a lot can be done with a new IP, the supposed Uncharted game is now in limbo. Jason Schreier, the journalist that broke the news, is uncertain the game is going into development elsewhere. So with that being said, guys, it makes a lot of sense that, Uncharted, even though everyone knows it to be Naughty Dog is, all hands on deck with The Last of Us Part 2, with the multiplayer and things of that nature, most likely, The Last of Us 3. So an Uncharted 5 would probably be done by someone else. And that kind of gives you hesitation. However, though, I would love to see Uncharted return, in some capacity or another. So, big part here is surviving without Nathan Drake. A major part of what made Uncharted such a success was its protagonist, as Nathan Drake has become one of PlayStation's most popular characters over the years. Played brilliantly by Nolan North, the character's wit and lighthearted nature make him extremely likable, allowing gamers to root for him every step of the way. However, Uncharted 4: Thief's End was designed around giving the character closure, ending his journey on the right note and allowing him to retire happily with his wife and daughter. That being said, though, my thought has been, guys, Uncharted 5, I believe Nathan Drake passes the torch, so to speak, onto his daughter. So go a number of years into the future, he passes the torch on to his daughter. Nathan Drake's still there, but the story continues, kind of like a God of War kind of style where, we got Kratos, but we also have his son, and I believe that they're going to pass the torch from Kratos onto his son, and then you play his son at some point in the future in the upcoming God of War titles. I believe the same could be said here. You got Nathan Drake there, kind of reminds me a little bit of, Gears of War. You had Marcus Phoenix as the main character. He passes the torch in Gears 4 to his son, right? So JD Phoenix you play as, and then he passes the torch, of course, to Kate Diaz in Gears 5. And so I really like it when you still have those characters, though. They're in the background. They're just not the playable character anymore. You can still play as them in multiplayer and such. But I think that seeing that transition is something I think really would be awesome for Uncharted 5. With Uncharted 4: Thief's End's brilliant ending, meant to be a send-off for Nathan Drake, honoring that conclusion would be a wise idea. As such, whichever developer takes on the next game could focus on a supporting character or reboot the series entirely. With the reboot, a developer runs the risk of players not connecting with the new lead hero like they did with Nathan Drake. Even if they do, the two characters would constantly be compared, with a brand new character unable to escape from the legendary treasure hunter's shadow. So, I don't want to see another Lost Legacy. That is for sure, guys. I don't want to see another spin-off of that. I would much rather see Nathan Drake, maybe a story around it's a number of years later and someone's coming after Nathan Drake for, all that he's got because of, his years of treasure hunting and things of that nature. And his daughter is there kind of following her in her dad's footsteps. And then, boom, you go on to this crazy adventure where she's there with her dad to, take over whatever it is, right? Go back into the treasure hunting, atmosphere almost. And I think that would be something really special. So what would damage the legacy of Uncharted? Because that's certainly something that we don't want to have happen. I do think, though, that Lost Legacy started to kind of hurt it a little bit, even though it didn't damage it that much. When people think of Uncharted, they likely think of Nathan Drake, something that makes replacing him a major challenge. As such, there's a chance that the character comes back in a new game, as it would be the quickest way to get longtime fans invested again, with Nolan North willing to return to the role and fans still loving the character just as much as they always gave. There is plenty of potential for the reappearance to take place. At the same time, it may not be for the best decision in terms of storytelling, as it goes against a lot of what Naughty Dog tried to do with the character in his last appearance. Look, and here's the thing. I think if you had Uncharted 5, you have the daughter there. Maybe you play Nathan Drake one last time and he passes the torch on to his daughter in the game, and then you play as her. Something, could be really, really cool, that even Naughty Dog did with The Last of Us Part 2, playing different characters and things of that nature. Uncharted 5 is in a tough position, as the question of whether Nathan Drake should be brought back into the mix is impossible to avoid. While a soft reboot can be attempted where players control Cassie, it is hard to believe that Nate would let her adventure on her own. At the same time, a spin-off or full reboot has the tough task of telling a satisfying story without Nathan Drake. As such, while there is reason to be excited about more Uncharted content, it is hard to deny that the next game is stuck between a rock and a hard place. Uncharted 5 is not confirmed to be in development. So look, guys, here's the thing. I believe that they definitely could go into a great direction with the daughter, Nathan Drake's daughter, and Nathan Drake himself, where they go on this adventure together. For whatever reason, he passes the torch on to her, and she becomes the new main character. And hopefully within that, you know, as long as it's cast well and all of that, we really love her character, and then, you know, it kind of leads us into the next generation of Uncharted titles. That would be the direction I would want to go in. As far as Uncharted is concerned, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts though in the comment section down below. Where do you guys want to see Uncharted go? Let me know. And for more Uncharted 5 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. I've spoken on the YouTube channel about Husky and his channel, guys, which was Husky StarCraft, and now he owns a new YouTube channel just called Husky. And I want to talk about this, guys, you know, in this segment of the show. It's something I wanted to follow up on. You know, a number of people have been asking me, will Husky StarCraft return at some point in the future, and what would that maybe look like? And I definitely want to talk about it, guys. Husky was very iconic, of course, in the StarCraft world, being a great commentator, had an awesome YouTube channel, and was the biggest, really, in the StarCraft community, to say the least. But Husky went ahead and deleted his YouTube channel, youtube.com/Husky StarCraft, deleted it a while back, and it was very sad, a sad day for me, simply because that's so much content that's just lost now, that he just deleted all those years of awesome commentaries that I think that the whole world would still love to watch some of those commentaries and such, but he decided to delete it, start his new channel, just Husky, and he does it with his girlfriend, Rosanna, and look, he's become, you know, a YouTuber in a different way, right? Kind of vlogs and things of that nature, being more of a personality than doing, you know, commentaries and such like he did with StarCraft. This leads us to the question, though, will Husky StarCraft ever return? Will he start a new Husky StarCraft channel? The answer, guys, is it's pretty depressing, because most likely he's not going to make another Husky StarCraft channel. He mentioned that, you know, his reasoning for deleting his YouTube channel in the first place and all of that, all of those years of content, just became a very toxic time period for him over the years of creating, you know, StarCraft content. He just had stated that it was, you know, this expectation and such just was almost like too much for him to bear at certain points in time. He was going through things personally as well with StarCraft and just his personal life, and he just didn't want to make those videos anymore. It wasn't really about that. Now, do I think that it would be absolutely huge if he started another StarCraft channel? Absolutely. It would absolutely light the StarCraft world on fire. People would be so excited about it if he did come back. I think it would be massive. I think it would be absolutely massive. He would be getting, you know, so, I mean, his popularity would skyrocket once again, even though he still has a lot of subscribers doing what he does. He doesn't upload that much anymore, but it's just the simple fact, guys, that he absolutely, in my opinion, was very good at doing StarCraft commentary. But I can tell you just from my own experience, guys, this channel was started and it was called Zero StarCraft. And from the very beginning, guys, if you go back to the very beginning of my YouTube channel, I created StarCraft commentaries on different pro games. I was thinking, you know what, there's this void here in the StarCraft community because Husky quit. He, you know, deleted his channel and such. So I thought to myself, you know what, that's what's going to start my channel, is I'm going to do commentaries around StarCraft, because there's this void for that, right? But then there was a lot of other creators out there in the StarCraft community that like doing that, creating, you know, content around StarCraft 2 games and commentaries. And so I decided to start expanding and branching off. I did StarCraft commentaries for an entire year, guys, casting StarCraft 2 pro games before I moved on to talking about other titles. And then it's really built to what it is now, where we're talking about all kinds of different titles, gaming, entertainment related, movies, you know, personalities on YouTube and such. And so I totally get it, though. I did the StarCraft commentaries and the StarCraft casting of StarCraft 2 games for a whole year. And I can tell you guys, there comes a point year over year doing the same thing and casting games, you can start to get to a point where you don't really enjoy it as much anymore. And I think for Husky, a lot of that kind of happened to him. He ended up just not liking it as much as he used to. Now, do I think he should have deleted his channel? Absolutely not. I believe that he should have uploaded a video on there saying, hey guys, I'm no longer going to create this content on here. And he could have maybe moved the channel into a different direction. Obviously, making his own channel is awesome, but I think having a gaming channel, even just having Husky StarCraft as a gaming channel, would be awesome. But maybe he's totally pushed gaming to the wayside for the future. And that's something that's really sad to me. So to answer the question, guys, I don't believe Husky StarCraft is coming back. Now, could a Husky gaming channel be in the works? Certainly could be something that's possible. But do I think that it's going to be StarCraft? Do I think it's going to be StarCraft casting? I don't believe so. But with that said, guys, I could be wrong, and that's my opinion. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below. Do you think Husky StarCraft will ever return? Let me know. And for more content and videos like this, guys, stay here with Zero TV. Stranger Things is one of my favorite shows of all time, guys. Absolutely love the horror elements, but also kind of that, you know, just that vibe that you get from like E.T. and movies of, you know, way back when. And you kind of get those kinds of vibes in Stranger Things, and something really special about this series up to this point. The first 2 seasons I thought were absolutely incredible. The third one I thought was good, not as good as the first 2. And the long anticipated excitement around season 4, or Stranger Things 4, is really ramping up after we've gotten some more information about it. I want to talk about everything that we know about Stranger Things 4 and what we can kind of expect, and we can break it down, guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. Let's have a real conversation about it. Let's get into it. In an article written by Henry St. Leger, Samuel Roberts, Harry Shepard, and Tom Power of none other than Tech Radar, what we've learned so far about Stranger Things Season 4 on Netflix. Stranger Things Season 4 is probably Netflix's most anticipated title that we know is in the works, and filming has been ongoing after a pandemic-induced delay. By the time the 80s sci-fi drama returns on the streamer in 2022, well over 2 years will have passed since Season 3's release. It's crazy to think it'll be over 2 years since we've saw Season 3. So when is the release date? So the release date, guys, right now is 2022, which has now been confirmed by Netflix. It hasn't been narrowed down beyond that, however. So it could be maybe late 2022. It'll be interesting to see. Maybe it'll be like 4th of July, which is what they were saying for Season 4 was supposed to be this past July, was when it was originally going to release. Maybe it'll be next one. It's hard to say. So all of the main cast members are returning for this season, along with 9 newly confirmed characters who were added to the show in late 2020. The plot, we know Hopper is imprisoned in Russia after the finale of Season 3, and that's mostly it when it comes to specifics. This season has been described as the scariest to date, though, and the cast have been dropping bits of info about what's new with their characters this season. And so, obviously, guys, Stranger Things and Ozark are my 2 favorite, shows on Netflix right now. Absolutely love those 2 shows. Stranger Things, though, guys, this is something that after Season 3, I really felt, though, that Season 4, I really wanted them to take their time with it. And obviously, they were forced to with the pandemic, obviously. But really take your time. Make this the best possible season. There's been rumors that this is the last season. I'm hoping that's not true, but we'll have to kind of wait and see as we go. So, obviously, a tweet from Stranger Things. See y'all in the Upside Down. Stranger Things returns in 2022. Finally, we've received confirmation that Stranger Things Season 4 will release on Netflix in 2022. There's a brief teaser trailer, guys. Obviously very exciting. They've been tweeting a lot, guys. Breaking, according to Finn Wolfhard, Stranger Things 4 will hopefully be released next year. That is Stranger Things spoilers. obviously there's been a lot of tweets from Stranger Things. There are other aspects of the series that we've been privy to as well. Speaking with Vogue in October 2020, Natalia Dyer, who plays Nancy Wheeler, mentioned that in terms of Stranger Things Season 4, while I can't say a lot except that it's going to be a while before it comes out, it would definitely be worth it. It's going to be really big. So there's a lot of talk, guys, that they're expanding. We're not in Hawkins anymore. They're kind of expanding this world, which I love, that it's going to be outside of, really outside the box. And I absolutely love that idea. So in a separate Collider article, Levy reiterated that stance and seemed to suggest that Season 5 could be the final installment in Netflix's biggest show. I have the end in sight, he said. The Duffer Brothers have the end in sight. There is a plan, and that too will be shared, not quite as soon as a sense of when Season 4 is coming out, but soon enough. I can't say this. No one's making it up as we go along, and there is an end game, if you will. So it does seem, guys, that the end is probably in sight. I really want, though, this awesome show to kind of feel like Harry Potter, where we're with these kids from the beginning when they're younger to as they get older, over time, kind of a Harry Potter-esque type of style. I'd love to see the show go into when they become, adults. And I think that would be an awesome concept as well. But obviously, I trust the Duffer Brothers as to what their plan is here, whether that means the 4th season is it or the 5th. So obviously, guys, we've had a number of teaser trailers that have come out. As the above teaser revealed, Hopper survived the events of Season 3. His fate was unknown after he convinced Joyce Byers, which was played by Winona Ryder, to cause the Russians' machine, which opened a gate to the Upside Down, to self-destruct despite Hopper being trapped inside. We don't know much else about what Hopper will be doing as part of his imprisonment, but the actor did go live on Instagram in his Season 4 costume and outfit fans already saw in the Season 4 teaser trailer a while back. While Hopper didn't give anything away, he did FaceTime Millie Bobby Brown, who plays 11, and the duo briefly confirmed that they were currently filming or had filmed in Atlanta. So the big part of this, guys, is what's the story here? Well, while there isn't an official synopsis yet, we've been receiving a steady trickle of information from the cast and crew, and all signs point towards Season 4 being darker than its predecessors, and I love this idea. Scariest yet. That's what we keep hearing. This is the scariest season yet. I love it. I hope that it is absolutely terrifying. I would absolutely love that. Harbour also hinted that fans would see a major moment in Hopper's backstory revealed during Season 4. According to Harbour, it's something that goes right back to the first frame of the first season. It might be worth preparing ourselves for something to do with his deceased daughter, Sarah, in that case, so make sure you have a tissue or two handy when that episode rolls around. For Seasons 1 through 3, the Duffer Brothers were still penning the final couple of episodes while filming was ongoing, a process that led to some panic writing on their part, according to Matarazzo. This time around, the COVID-19 pandemic allowed the pair to finish writing Season 4 before principal photography restarted last September. Maya Hawke was asked about Robin's Season 4 story arc. Hawke didn't give anything away, but she did hint that the Duffer Brothers really dig into her this season, which is interesting, guys. I'm excited to say the least, for sure. The official Stranger Things Instagram account has also revealed the title of Season 4's first episode. It'll be called The Hellfire Club, and this will relate to one of the new characters who will be appearing in Stranger Things' next chapter. So we're also expecting to see more of Eleven's backstory play out in Stranger Things Season 4. A new teaser, which arrived on May 6th, is centered around a flashback to when Eleven was one of Dr. Brenner's child test subjects at Hawkins National Laboratory. Which, look, guys, there's so many different backstories here to this, obviously to Stranger Things as a whole, but Season 4 in particular, this is something where it feels like a lot of things are going to come full circle, and I'm very excited about that, to say the least. I think that there's certainly things that we want to see happen in Season 4, but there's also things that we want to definitely be surprised by. I want them to continue surprising us, leaving us, very much so on the edge of our seats, waiting for that next episode. I just don't want it to end. Let's put it that way. So there are also plenty of unresolved plot threads from Season 3. 11 has seemingly lost her powers while the gang has been split up, with the Byers family leaving for pastures new. So, look, finally, leaked set photos appear to show 11 will be involved in some sort of accident in Season 4. Naturally, it's unclear what this means for 11's arc in Season 4, given that she's lost her abilities in Season 3's finale, though the two incidents may be linked. It's that or Brenner has found and kidnapped her so he can continue his sinister experiments. So a lot of the same people are coming back, guys. As far as the cast and crew are concerned, we're going to be getting some new people, though, which is pretty exciting as well. Will Stranger Things still have the same magic when it returns after all this time? We're hoping so. If anything, the longer it takes, the more likely the creators or the creators are to get it right once again. And I agree. I mean, I think that they are definitely going to get this thing right, guys. The Duffer Brothers seem very good. Season 3, like I said, was definitely not as good as the first two. I thought the first season was awesome, and I thought the second season was even better than the first season. And then Season 3 took us a little bit of a step back, but Season 4... they've had all this time to get ready and get it right, and that's why I'm really excited, as well as the fact that apparently this is the scariest Stranger Things that we've ever seen, and that gets me really excited as being a horror fan. But that being said, guys, let me know in the comment section down below, what are you guys most excited about with Season 4 of Stranger Things? Let me know. Let's have a real conversation about it. And for more Stranger Things content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. And with that being said, everyone, I hope you guys did enjoy this episode of the 8 Below Show. And if you guys did, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, stay positive, and as always, I'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Peace.